G'day everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard. A little ride out to start with, I think, just to Halfords and back. And I'll be posing you 2 questions I'll come back to later. 1, do I rant? And 2, advice for my helmet. Cheers. Morning everyone, what a fucking lovely day it is too. I've basically had to come up with an excuse to go out on the bike. The excuse being that I need to go to Halfords. How did you manage to justify that, Matt? Well, I was pissing around with bits and pieces on the bike. And I thought, I've no idea how long this coolant's been in. It's a better angle for the bars. Yeah, so what? Let's do it back in time. Now, if I look at my bars, I'm not sure if you can see it, but you can see they're all lovely and black now. It was the one thing that was bugging me, was the actual handlebars themselves were really scrubby. And they're still a little bit scrubby, you know, it's not a perfect bike. In fact, I can see a bit of light paint there that's going to annoy me. But so I thought, I'll whip them off in an evening in the week and just chuck some paint at them. That led me to then I couldn't get the left grip off my heated grips because however they've been glued, I could have persevered, frankly. But I didn't want to break my heated grips. It's got heated grips. Why would I break them just to do something, you know, fundamentally pretty cosmetic and inconsequential? God. So I unplugged the left-hand side and just, you know, masked it off for the paint. Now, bearing in mind on bars, which are a really stupid thing to paint because it's only going to scratch, but hey, why not? Obviously that tied line of paint is all obscured by all the other cackage that's on your bars anyway, so it was really not too much of a problem. Whoever commented and asked how I get on with the mirrors, they're pretty shit to be honest on a ER6, but they're better than nothing. Get a very good view of my shoulder mostly, but they are better than nothing. Yeah, so took the bars off, had to unplug that the left hand one. Was a bit I didn't want to go through taking the tank off and all of that. I could just about schnurgle under the high side of the tank to get it there. The easiest way to schnurgle around there was to take off one of the indicator like bulbs. I'd say take off, I got away with just rotating it mostly. While I was there I thought, oh actually I'll chuck some more coolant in there. The expansion reservoir was empty, which the bike was cold. I think it should be at that stage, but expansion tank was empty. Took the cap off the radiator, level was quite low, and it did, you know, it kind of struck me that I didn't know when it was last done. So I thought, oh fuck it, I'll do that. So that's why I'm doing coolant change. What I'm not doing is Del Boy-esque looking for an upload to put on, because I doubt I'll even show it, to be brutally honest. So that's why I'm out and about. Bike looks a little bit different. Bike looks very different at the back end. I have taken the rack off. When we get back to the garage I'll show you for why, but effectively, hello. But effectively the bolts for housing it onto the frame come up from the tail tidy and they're too short. They're too short to get a decent amount of purchase on with a nut on the end. When you've got the rack on the side. Now I don't know why. I don't know if you're supposed to get a different one. It is fixable, but it just means that the bolts through, they are, you know, welded onto the metal of the neutral, welded onto the metal of the tail tidy. So I'd have to drill it out and put a longer bolt through. Yada yada yada. And frankly, I may do it, I may not. I'm not all that bothered. I've had a couple of trips into work this week where I've needed more stuff than I would normally carry. You know, my normal kit list is basically a laptop, a notebook, as in a paper notebook, and a shirt, and a smart shirt. But I've needed to bring other stuff in for various other reasons, so I've worn a backpack. I've worn a different backpack, and actually I find it, what the fuck are you doing? I found it really comfy. I've got the straps nice and loose, so it's not binding over my shoulders, and actually when I've got weight on it, it actually sits on my rear seat, my passenger seat. So yeah, I think I might just stick with the bag, frankly. So yeah, I'll see how that goes for now. I prefer the lines of a bike without a case on the back, even if it is a littler one. It did look a lot better with the littler one. I did try balancing my top box from the CBF on the back, which is really convenient on that bike. I did try just chucking it on the back, see how it looked. It looked fucking ridiculous. Would have been entirely practical because you can fit a helmet in it, you can fit, you know, 8 tons worth of wet kit. Yeah, I get it, but it just doesn't work. Oh, for crying out loud. Go on, bus. Someone stop the bus, please. Yes, I've done that. So yeah. I've got 2 questions. I'll repeat them at the end after I've done pissing around, but I've got 2 questions. I did a rant upload in the week. Nothing to do with bikes. I happen to be sat on it, but a general state of the world and politics and everything else. I have uploaded it to YouTube. It is private at the moment, it's not public, so that means it's not been released. The only person that's watched it is me. I don't know whether or not to release it. I don't know what it could do to algorithms and bits and pieces like that. I'm quite frank with my views. I'm not your average. I don't have mainstream views. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that some stuff is held back from us and we are being driven in some directions, not by some nefarious organisation or anything like that. I think I'm pretty sure of the reasons behind it as well. But the question is, do you lot want to hear that sort of shit, or are you just here for bikes? If I put it up, you're just going to go, oh, you know, I'll caveat it. If I do put it up, I will caveat it heavily to say this is not bike related. You know, it's not false advertising. It is just a rant. So question 1, do I even bother uploading that? Do I pollute my bike channel with opinion? Yeah, do I do that? Do I fuck around like that? What else? Yes, the other question, and a few of you guys brought it up with my uploads. I'm having problems with my helmet. Not that I would bring up medical inconfidence stuff on a YouTube channel. I mean my crash helmet, and I'm not having any problems at all with my crash helmet. I'm having problems with my vlogging setup. Now when we get back from this little trip, I'll walk you through. I have done a previous whole upload on it as to how I got to where I got, but I'll do a quick, you know, a really quick spin on the what's, wherefores and whyfores. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, of my setup. I mean, basically it comes back to, I got this camera, I filmed this on a GoPro Hero 5 session that I got as a gift. Oh, good God, 6 years ago now, I think. Yeah, 6 years ago. when I was doing quite a lot of road cycling, road biking, as in pedal biking, you know, mammal stuff, middle-aged man in Lycra. And it was brilliant for that because it's tiny. I could also turn it on and off when I wanted or needed it. It was brilliant. It's really good for what I'm using it for now, in terms of its small form. It's tiny. It fits really well on a helmet mount. After a bit of codging around, it weighs naff all, so my head isn't getting dragged around by the weight of a camera on it. Functionality is really good, etc, etc, etc. I've had to do over the years a lot of playing with it to get it right, including microphone mounts, including plugs for those microphone mounts, because for a long time I could only get mono, or I could not get stereo sound. All of that sort of stuff. The problem that I've got with it is the battery life. Now, battery life on Hero 5 sessions was never great. However, it's getting on a bit now. It's not detachable. The battery isn't detachable, so I'm kind of stuck with what I've got. I can't, you know, swap batteries halfway through a journey or anything like that. That's not what the session was for. So the battery life is really, you're really fucking that up. Should we watch him for a little while, see how many times he cocks it up? No, you've still got it. You've still got it. Now you're going to hit the sign. I just feel like I should get out of his way before he kills me or somebody else. Yeah, it's the battery life that's the issue, but we'll have a look at that probably when we get back and look at some of the options. See you in a bit. Okay, so let's have a close and personal look at my helmet. That never sounds right. I like modular helmets, predominantly because I wear glasses, and it means that I can piss around my glasses, take them on, take them off. So this is like my second, I think, yeah, my second helmet like that. I've got a Bluetooth headset in there. I've managed to hide there's only a cheapy one. I've got more expensive ones with the unit on the side, but I don't tend to ride in groups or anything like that, so it was a bit pointless and I kept knocking it. So I went back to the original cheap and cheerful, and it works. Works fine. It's got the old power thing at the back, which is a pain in the arse, because trying to find an adapter that fits, because we've all moved on to S-type connectors. It's fine. I don't tend to hold many phone conversations. I tend to use it more, frankly, for directions as I'm riding, because traffic updates help. Pops come off. So that's fine. So ignore it. That's not part of this conversation. The conversation really is the camera. Now, like I said, I've had that for years now, and it's brilliant. It is the simplest thing in the world. Pops in, pops out. It's actually mounted upside down, so it feels upside down. I can't auto-correct. Well, I should be able to, but it never seemed to work. It doesn't bother me at all, because I edit everything that I film anyway, so I just flip it on post-production editing. Fits in. It does have a cover that makes it waterproof. So this theoretically isn't waterproof. I've got a load of black tape around it. I've ridden this in all sorts of weather conditions and I've never had an issue. The main problem with GoPro, in my humble opinion, is microphones. So you need a microphone adapter to go into the proprietary element of the camera. All sorts of arsing around. I can't even remember what I've done, but I could only get mono sound rather than stereo. I did find an adapter eventually, plugged it in, and it's done. And I can't remember how I fixed it. I can't remember. That wasn't part of the set. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'd love to be able to tell you the hack to do it, but it was cheap. I did it and it works. So that's fine. So it's a little bit bulky, but what all of this does do is gives you a power socket at the back. So I could / can run more power from that, and it will charge from that battery pack. Hence a bit of Velcro on the back. I love this industrial Velcro on helmets. It doesn't damage the material itself. It doesn't eat into it at all. In the old days, people used to be very concerned about putting anything on helmets because it would eat through or destroy the lacquer. It's absolutely fine, and this stuff is so strong you can hang all sorts from it. The issue that I've got is I've even got a slight crack in my screen, but again, it's never affected it. It's been fine. If it ain't broke, don't fix. The thing that I love about it most is that it's light, doesn't weigh anything, but it's chin mounted, it's out of the way, it's looking at everything I do. It's not side mounted and therefore getting a side view of my helmet. For now. Also, by having a flip top helmet, I think it restricts the number of options I have for a side mounted camera. I mean, I could put it there and that would probably work, but I'm just concerned about not getting a true field of vision. Now, I've looked at a few options, and a few of you guys have said about Pro XL Ghosts or Ghost Pro XLs. Where's my camera? And I have had a look, and it is right. The Poxy app keeps freezing, which isn't really helping, but we'll see how we get on. So that's the Pro XL. I'm going against it. It's certainly affordable, but I'm going against it. The main thing, for one, is the sensation of speed. Not that I'm a speed demon, but actually it's the fact that its form is good, it looks good, but it's side mounted, and I'm going to be, you're going to be staring at the side view of my helmet, if you'll excuse the horrible mental picture behind that. And I'm not there on that, so not discounted, but I'm not overly keen. I'm heading towards Insta. Again, a lot more expensive, $255. The package looks better, and it isn't just for that, that invisible stick 360 shebang. It looks better, it feels better. It's got a detachable camera. You can change the lenses from the main unit, etc., etc. I think it looks good. And a couple of videos that I've seen, the RS1 or the 1RS seems to be factory standard, if you like, for those that are doing this to a decent quality. So I quite like the idea. Potentially sticking around with GoPro. People have had all sorts of issues with reliability and them burning off and shutting down and all this sort of stuff. I've never had any dramas, but I think most of the dramas came in beyond the 5 that I use. It seems slightly counterintuitive if you're going to buy a new GoPro not to get the latest one, but the cost is not insignificant. But yeah, GoPro have ruled the waves for a very long time, and I have to say, I'm tempted to just stick with it. One from left field, which I'm not quite so sure about, but is getting very, very good reviews, is I've just lost it. Is the Osmo Action 4. Now, there were audio issues with 1 to 3. Basically, the gain was volume. Well, no, it is gain, but so everyone knows what the hell I'm talking about. It was recording too loud, and it was just blowing itself out all the time. You could get around it with, add-ins and taggings, etc. But it seems to have rectified it on the Action 4, because you can turn the gain down on the actual unit itself. So yeah, that's but that is not cheap either. You're looking best side of 300 quid now. I am close to a birthday, but I don't think I've been that good for a year, but we'll see. I'm undecided. What do you think? So answers in the comments. Do I stick with GoPro and go for something more modern, which I can chin mount? Sorry, I haven't made enough out of that. I can chin mount, so that's the better position for me. Do I stick with GoPro? Do I go for something a little bit different than the Insta360? Again, chin mounted, which is a big bonus on that. Do I risk it on a Ghost XL? And I know a few of you guys have got it not chin mounted, so not quite so keen. Or do I risk it for a biscuit and go for the DJI Osmo Action 4? Don't know. Right, while we've been chatting, that bike's been cooling, so I'm going to get on with draining the coolant out of it and see if it is coolant or just water, because it does seem to be expanding a hell of a great deal. Right, I'm not going to make a full Del Boy deal out of it. It's still warm, I should let it cool longer, but it's pressing all over the floor. There seems to be a lot in there. Just sort my legs out. I have still got the cap on. I should take that off complete, but it is a bit tucked behind the bolt for the crash bars. Another occasion where a sloped driveway is a pain in the ass. I think I might just go and grab some distilled water because I haven't got any. Maybe get a cake from the cake shop for the kids, take the dog for a wander and just flush it through a little bit. I'm reusing the crust washer here because I am just going to rinse it through. I'll put a fresh one on and we do the final one. It's a bit shitty around the neck, but not too bad. Right, I'm going to go get some water. Right, there we go. That's sort of one flush with distilled water. Has it gone? I'll even prove that I'm using distilled water. There we go. Or deionized water. And then coolant in. I've taken it around the block, warmed it up, got the fan going, checked the expansion reservoir, and it's just dumped half of it. With the expansion reservoir, not of the actual level. It just seems to run hot. I'm not sure if that's going to cause me too many issues or not, but we shall see. I'll keep an eye on the coolant levels, but seems happy enough and rides beautifully. That'll do me. I refer you to the questions. Do you want to hear a rant? It's got nothing to do with bikes. I don't know if it's of interest to anyone, but it was cathartic to do it in my head in a helmet on the way to work one day. If you can hear this. Sounds like dial-up internet. It's expanding fuel in the sun, making its way through the cap. I have had a quick look at see if there's any obvious blockages, but there aren't any. It's cool. It's a throwback to my youth. Right, that'll do me for this one. I'll catch you later on. I'm going to go and play in the sun somewhere. Cheers all. Ta-da.